Okay, sir, shall we start?
Yes, please.
Okay. A very good afternoon to our respected director, sir, Professor Dr. Avindu Naik from Ashadi Wisdom Campus, Sri Lanka. Our respected guest speaker for today, Dr. Pushpesh Kumar, sir, who is a professor from the Department of Sociology, University of Hyderabad. It's indeed an honor to welcome all of you to the much awaited webinar on account of International Men's Day, which happens to be today. Now, International Men's Day, which is celebrated every year on 19th of November, it has a short history. The history of International Men's Day, IMD, goes back to 1990s, where it was first celebrated in Jamaica in 1992. However, it gained more recognition and international attention in 1999 by Dr. Tilak Singh, who was from Trinidad and Tobago-based activist, who regarded November 19th as the day to commemorate his father's birthday, which coincided with the existing Trinidad and Tobago holiday, and henceforth it is observed as International Men's Day. Now, there are certain objectives of International Men's Day, like to promote positive masculinity, to become empathetic towards men, because masculinity is not only limited to one typical form of masculinity, there are multiple forms of masculinity. And also, one of the major theme and emphasis of this Men's Day was also to focus on the concept of toxic masculinity, which challenges traditional masculine norms and promotes in promoting healthy relationships. So, without much ado, today we welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Pushpesh Kumar, sir, to give a brief introduction about sir. Professor Dr. Pushpesh Kumar teaches sociology at the University of Hyderabad. He has written extensively on gender and sexuality issues. He has published in an edited volume entitled Sexuality, Abjection, and Queer Existence in Contemporary India from the very prestigious Routledge, New York, Delhi in 2022. His co-edited volume, Sociology of Gender in India, is being published by none other than the Cambridge University Press. He also serves on the International Advisory Committee of the Community Development Journal, served as a member of the editorial committee of the Sociological Bulletin SAGE and on the advisory committee of the Indian Journal of Gender Studies SAGE. He was even invited by the South Asia Center, Syracuse, to share his research on queering Indian sociology in the year 2017. He received the M.N. Srinivas Memorial Prize for Young Sociologists of the Indian Sociological Society, Delhi, for his essay entitled Gender and Procreative Ideologies Among the Columns of Maharashtra, which was published in the Contributions to Indian Sociology. Under the British Academy Fellowship, he has been a visiting fellow at the Department of Anthropology, another prestigious London School of Economics and Political Science in 2009. He was also a visiting fellow at the Center of Studies of Social System, JNU, and the Department of Sociology, Delhi School of Economics 2018. He was recently offered an honorary visiting professorship by Impact and Policy Research Institute, Delhi. He, along with Shayantan Datta and Neha Mishra from Kriya University, are the guest editors of a special volume entitled Queer and Trans Community Building in Post Nalsa and Post 377 India, which was published in the recent issue of the Community Development Journal, OUP, UK, and Ireland. So it's indeed a great honor that Sir has accepted our invitation to enlighten all of us on the topic entitled Pathan, Military Masculinity and Possibility of a Queer Reading.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here on this important day. And as you have already you know spelled out what is the title of my presentation, I am trying to sort of speak on Saruk Khan and his film Pathan, and how there can be multiple interpretations of masculinity within this film and also in the larger cultural landscape, cinematic landscape. So I'm taking this case of Pathan and trying to articulate how we can look at Shah Rukh Khan's masculinity in this film Pathan. So, Pathan is an action thriller film marked Shah Rukh Khan's return to the big screen after 4 years in 2023, despite grabbing controversy because of its song Besaram Rang, where one of the several bikinis donned and draped by Deepika Padukone was saffron colored. The film, and you know that saffron color is associated with certain political outfit and certain political party, so it created a lot of controversy in India. The film grossed 1000 crores at box office, and that shows the success of the film. This success overrides the controversy around the Besharam Rang, as fans across India and the globe celebrated the release of movie almost as a festival. Among other things, the blockbuster shows Shah Rukh Khan in a new masculine avatar, which is six pack abs, his profuse nationalism, and his loyalty to an ethical, moral military mission. Interestingly, uh, in his military nationalist ethico moral project, the film cautions against a populist demonizing of the enemy camp at the same time. And as we know, the enemy is Pakistan. I mean, this is the popular understanding that India, Pakistan are enemies. But even if this film is hyper nationalistic, there is a caution against demonizing Pakistan here. So in this paper, I discuss Shah Rukh Khan's masculinity first as an ex-RAW official, and RAW, as you know, is Indian intelligence, agency, and a founding member of Joint Operation Covert Research, which is formed by the retired officials, personals from the RAW, drawing his role and his performance in the film closer to the idea of hegemony. So, on the one hand, Shah Rukh Khan represents what we call hegemonic military masculinity. In his second stance, I suggest the possibility of queerness within this hegemonic military masculinity through the absence of Pathan's overt heterosexuality in the film. So what I mean to try to argue is that even though his military masculinity is very close to hegemonic masculinity, but one of the conditions, one of the premises, on one of the thing on which hegemonic masculinity is premised is overt heterosexuality. But the overt heterosexuality is missing in Pathan. I further explain this queerness using Dana Staller's concept of lateral reading, and I will explain what is lateral reading, which involves reading a text through historical entanglements and frictions. In doing so, I read the film also in the context of a burgeoning queer movement and a gradual rise in acceptance of queer cinema in Bollywood. In modern societies, military masculinity situates one at the top of male hierarchy. It consists of moral orientation, self-sacrifice. So even if the people who are militarily masculinist, they are very morally oriented from their nation's perspective. They are very morally oriented. So even if they are crushing the enemy, it is very moral in that understanding. Self-discipline, physical ability, emotional control, martial arts skills, or intelligence that is beyond other civilians. Arguably, military service offers men unique resources for the construction of a masculine identity defined by an overt heterosexual desire, physical fitness, self discipline, self reliance, the willingness to use aggression and physical violence, and risk taking, qualities that are tightly aligned with military. As a former RAW official in India and a founding member of JOCR, the character of Pathan owns all the above qualities. While reflecting on the cast of the film, a critic affirms Khan's physical prowess thus: from Deepika Padukone's outfit to John Abraham's chiseled muscles to Shah Rukh Khan's CGI enhanced six pack abs, Pathan has too much in store that does not let you complain. Pathan's bravery, valor, and martial skills are on display when he indomitably attacks Jim, which is played by John Abraham in Dubai. Jim has his affiliation with contract-based country-neutral terrorist outfit. In, in the plot, Jim plans to kidnap two Indian doctors at the behest of a terrorist group. The doctors were to be detained to develop a deadly virus in the laboratory. The biological weapon produced by Indian hostage doctors would help in executing the revenge plans of Pakistani terror groups against the reading down of Article 370 in Kashmir. And as you know, that 370, which gave special status to Kashmir, was read down a few years back. And this was a retaliation by the terrorist groups outside India to sort of teach a lesson to India by developing a biological weapon. And in this development of biological weapon, they have to kind of, you know, they have to use the Indian doctors themselves. The other crucial point where Pathan shows his military prowess, dedication to the nation, and fearless macho spirit are in retrieving Rakt Beej or blood seed, a code word for the deadly smallpox virus stores in Vault 412 in Workswich Tower on 92nd floor in Moscow. Reflecting on the military martial abilities, risk taking, and heavy machismo of Khan in this context, Srivastava writes, "You have seen Khan in Chaya Chaya, but Pathan gives you very much more. He's fighting on top of a humor, then somewhere mid on a rope tied between two helicopters, and then jumps on a truck." Though these visual effects are achieved more through camera techniques and computer technology, Khan's six pack abs and action adventures copied from Hollywood action movies evoke great enthusiasm and energy among the audience. What is remarkable is that the muscular six pack hegemonic masculinity of Shah Rukh Khan lacks the display of his overt heterosexuality, a precondition of military and hegemonic masculinity. Shah Rukh Khan's masculinity appears to be certain while his sexuality appears to be uncertain, as there is hardly an intimate scene displaying his heterosexuality except for a few half-hearted intimate movements between the heroine Deepika Padukone and the hero Khan, surfacing during two song and dance sequences, Besharam Rang, The World Has Not Seen My True Colors, a beach summer song shot at different location in Spain, and the closing one, Jhumeju Pathan, when Pathan gets into groove. There is hardly any moment showing the romantic, heterosexual, erotic inclination of the hero. Even while dancing in the above two songs, the hero's feeble embrace of the female protagonist seems to be conscious effort from the dance director to not disappoint the audience in an era where on screen kissing has become common spectacle in the Bollywood. Deprived of familiar love and having spent his childhood in juvenile homes, Pathan receives love in Afghanistan as he rescues a village madrasa children from a missile attack. The village belonged to the Pathan community and he was bestowed the name Pathan by the affectionate villagers. Despite earning familiar love, he is unable to encounter an intimate romantic moment in the film. It can be suggested that his romantic life with Deepika Padukone is placed in the storyline would have been appealing and even a scandal when Khan's nationalist image, because Deepika Padukone plays the role of Rubai, and Rubai is an ISI agent. So it would have been quite an embarrassment where Shah Rukh Khan is shown as a hyper nationalist person from Indian nationalist perspective. In the American context, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy instituted by President Clinton for non heterosexual army personnel discouraged open homosexual identities and public display of affection. This policy, however, recognized the existence of sexually non conforming persons in the army. Though Clinton's administration moved away from MacArthur era America, where non heterosexuals in federal services were regarded as subversively criminal and were thrown out of job on mere suspicion of their sexual nonconformity. The dominant official ideology, as mentioned earlier, remains heterosexuality. The Indian defense establishment remains, however, rigidly heterosexist despite two landmark Supreme Court verdicts, Nalsa in 2014 and the reading down of Section 377 of Indian Penal Code. The recent attempt by Onir, who is also a queer film director, to direct a film on the real life story of a gay army personnel who quit his Indian army job due to his sexual orientation, was refused permission by the Ministry of Defense. It reveals and affirms that Indian military services are still premised on heterosexism and queerphobia. The official assertion of heterosexuality does not, however, obliterate the possibilities of queer constituencies within the army. In a personal conversation, Paromita Vora, also a film critic and an activist, she hints at the asexuality of Pathan in this film. Taking a cue from Paromita Vora, I wish to further elaborate on Khan's masculinity sexuality using Settler's interpretative method of lateral reading. Lateral reading is a mode of interpretation that moves horizontally through various historical entanglements and across fields of arts to make sense of and see them in a new light, their connections, challenges, and productive frictions. The historical entanglement and frictions I wish to draw upon here are the burgeoning queer movement in India, a gradual rise of queer film in Bollywood and OTT platform series addressing LGBTQIA+ issues. In juxtaposition to the above, one can also see heightening cultural nationalism in contemporary India and an emerging Islamophobia, mostly in northern Cowbelt. While Pathan articulates his hyper nationalism in the film to contest Islamophobia and obliquely reflects on the vulnerability of Muslim citizens in contemporary India as he labors hard to prove that a Muslim person can be as dedicated to the nation as Hindu fellow citizens. His silent and inert sexuality, embodied and ingrained in the macho military masculinity, offers itself for imaginative interpretations. It simultaneously provokes a debate on what would constitute a queer masculinity. In popular perception, queer men and their masculinity are associated with femininity. This misinterpretation was challenged in the Bollywood through the recent film Badhai Do, in which the protagonist, police inspector, played by Rajkumar Rao, is a gay. His appearance and demeanor defy any hegemonic understanding of queer masculinity as invariably effeminate and other of cishet masculinity. Rao, the police official, is an aggressive, firm, and resolute in the performance of police masculinity on a screen as any cishet male in this profession. Yet his sexual orientation does not remain faithful to his cis-normative appearance. The difference between Badhaidu and Pathan is that the former, being a queer cinema, discloses its protagonist's sexuality through his marriage with a lesbian person projected in the story as MOC, marriage of convenience. While while public performance, a gay man and a lesbian woman get married, as husband and wife. They display in public that they're husband and wife, but actually they have a different sexual, or both have a different sexual orientation, and both enjoy their private life. While Pathan is overshadowed by his loyalty to the nation and his projection as war hero, which together seem to require deflection of his erotic desire and sexuality. Why I'm trying to argue this, that why it was easier for the directors to show a police masculinity as also a homosexual or queer masculinity, but in this film it might be interpreted as queer in Pathan, but because it's also a hyper nationalist film, it is difficult for the director to show his overt queerness. Talking about mainstream cinema and viewership, Michael Aaron deliberates how queerness is not contained in this text but instead knowingly indulged. This is explained by Aaron in terms of audiences' consensual flirtations with gender and sexual ambiguity. Pathan's sexuality appears obscure and indeterminate, which offers the burgeoning queer movement in India to proffer, appropriate, and interpretatively flirt with his robust masculinity and yet uncertain sexuality to avow a certain queerness. In this sense, Pathan embodies and disrupts the idea of hegemonic military masculinity. In a lateral reading attempt, I further glance at the text on Khan by Saranyas Bhattacharya, uh, which reflects on Khan and his masculinity by comparing and contrasting with two other Khans, Amir Khan and Salman Khan, respectively. Bhattacharya writes Salman plays self confident men, directing attention instead to the biceps. Amir Khan's career conforms to traditional understanding of craft. If Amir's celebrity is composed of competence and excellence, film choices, and Salman's brass masculine confidence, Saharuk exudes anxiety and vulnerability. He usually plays fragile figures, the fragile lover, the fragile hero, the fragile husband, the fragile Muslim, and even the fragile villain. Bhattacharya, while reflecting on Shahrukh Khan's masculinity, further submits Shahrukh's image deviates from standard masculine tropes. Both Amir and Salman have captured many male hearts because they have made their bodies archetype of phenomenal physical strength. Shahrukh did join the bodybuilding game. His late acquisition of six pack abs made it to the front pages of newspapers and magazines, and the actor continues to bulk up for his upcoming 2022, which also came, Pathan. However, for most of his career, he has been lighter in frame and less visibly muscular. He is built differently from the other two Khans, with gentler physical presence on screen. Khan decides to have fun with a role meant to be strong and stoic man. By playing him flirtatious and rather camp in various moments. So he looks more campy. In continuation to his camp demeanor, Bhattacharya says that the rumors about Shahrukh Khan's sexuality run rife. On a TV show, he quoted Samantha from Sex and City and described himself as trisexual. Bhattacharya calls him the patron saint of South Asian metrosexual as he became the first male icon to endorse women's beauty products. So, in line with the lateral reading and Sarukh's assertion of his trisexuality, his fragile, campy comportment, and his uncertain and indeterminate sexuality in Pathan, one can propose a queer reading of the robust military masculinity following on his missing overt heterosexuality in the film. Does it make his robust military masculinity contradictory and fragile? Or does it reaffirm what O'Neill's proposed film on gay army personnel and Clinton's Don't Tell, Don't Ask army policy suggest? Khan's robust military masculinity without his overt heterosexuality also draws his persona closer to Rajkumar Raw's police masculinity in the film Badhai Do. Several members of LGBTQIA communities in their private conversation think of Khan's masculinity and dormant sexuality as queer and somehow irreconcilable to the idea of hegemonic military masculinity. I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for such a detailed analysis on how military masculinity is portrayed in the movie of the film Pathan. It is very beautifully and elaboratively explained. Since this webinar is live streamed, so any queries, any questions, any feedback, any observation are welcome from the participants. If they have any queries, they can write in the chat box.
I think nobody has, has any question.
It was very well explained. Now I would like to request our respected director, sir, if he wants to say something for our webinar today.
Yes. On behalf of Ashadi Wisdom Campus Sri Lanka, we extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Pushpesh Kumar for joining us as a special guest on this meaningful occasion of International Men's Day. Your valuable insights and inspiring words on gender equity and the involving role of men in society truly enrich this session. We are grateful for your contribution and look forward to future collaborations as well. Thank you once again, Dr. Pushpesh, for your time and wisdom. Also, thank you very much to our gender studies HOD, Dr. Madhurima, that kind of wonderful effort. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm also thankful to your center and particularly Madhurima. Thank you. Yeah.
My sincere gratitude to you, sir. So with this, we come to the end of today's webinar. My sincere gratitude and heartfelt acknowledgement goes out to our respected speaker for today, Professor Dr. Pushpesh Kumar, sir, who took out his valuable time to address all of us on a very, very important issue of military masculinity, which is not so much addressed in today's scenario, that too on this occasion of International Men's Day. We look forward to future endeavors with you because we are coming up with virtual conferences like International Conference on Gender Studies and Social Studies, which will be organized next year in the month of March. So
Sure.
we look forward to you again. Thank you
Sure.
so,
Thank
so much, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, sir.